Good morning and welcome to this episode of Spirit of the Valley. We are blessed today, and it's actually quite a unique experience to have they wouldn't want me to call them a dynasty, but that's kind of how I think of them. We have the Dodds brothers, who anyone in Hanover and way beyond knows who they are in terms of athletics in Hanover, but it's kind of unusual, and I dare say maybe the only family in most of the country where three brothers are varsity coaches for Hanover High School winter teams. So I think it's wonderful, and I'm glad they could all make it, even from Denver. Tom is our ski jumping coach. Dick has the boys hockey, high school hockey, and John does the girls high school hockey. So that you're going to see the Dodds name in every newspaper article all winter long, and be used to it, because it's usually in a good way. They have winning records. Incredibly so, and I think you have the sport, Tom, that people know the least about.
Yeah, we've even growing up, I was sort of the black sheep of the family when I turned to skiing, and both my brothers stayed with the hockey. But jumping is definitely somewhat less known of a sport, though. In the Upper Valley, I mean, with the sort of history we've had of the Hastings brothers and Hollins brothers, there is a deep history of ski jumping, and it's kind of fun to be part of that.
It is, and Jeff Hastings was on here, and he'd mentioned people like Nick Alexander, who's just recently graduated, so it's still alive and well.
Absolutely.
The team you showed me in a picture looked like you had a dozen. Anyway.
Yeah, our Ford Sayer program at the youth level is growing, and high school we have a good contingent come out every year.
Are you always seeing ones coming along younger, so that you know it's still grooming?
Well, there was sort of a period where we didn't get a lot of people into jumping at the younger age. So one of the challenges of being a high school coach is almost 80% of my athletes are jumping for the first time. So you're teaching big kids how to ski jump, how to go off a hill, which can be intimidating for them.
And the older you get as a person in general, the more fear you have trying something new or something as different.
It may be common sense rather than fear, but
I
think that's true.
You're right. I know. I don't shush anymore.
Yeah. What's interesting to me about your sport is now it seems like the girls are starting to take it up.
That was fun to see.
Isn't it about to be an Olympic sport
Lily
for
and
girls?
Tara and people like that. I love that.
Yeah, I agree. That's very exciting as well. It was disappointing when the Olympic Committee didn't allow women's ski jumping in Vancouver, but it looks like the next Olympics we will have women in ski jumping. So, I think that's probably huge. What's generating a little more interest, both at the youth level for us as well as the high school level.
Oh, it'll get people in Hanover for sure, and Norwich that hadn't really thought about it seriously. So,
matter of fact, I had a girl we just had a sign-up meeting. We have sign-up meetings in the fall to see who's going to come and make sure they're eligible and everything's up to date with their medical things. And one of my girls I got an email that day, said, Coach, I'm not going to try out this year. She's a sophomore. Tried out last year and almost made it, but not quite. Probably would have been there this year. And said, I think I'm going to try ski jumping this year.
Good for her.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I see cross switching from figure skating to hockey. I mean, my husband had a team where there were a few figure skaters that had seen the light, so to speak. Okay, so the boys hockey.
Right.
You have done that for...
this will be my 30th year.
Unbelievable.
So
Does he look 30?
It's such a wonderful community to coach in, because of especially with the hockey, the youth hockey program in Hanover just keeps churning out these hockey players.
Yeah.
And unlike Tom, where they come in probably not having done a lot of it, they come in pretty polished.
Yeah.
All these athletes.
And you can spot them at pretty young levels.
Yeah, it's fun watching them as they, take to the ice when they're 4 years old, and some of the most wonderful years were those younger years, and so it's interesting the way the sport has kind of evolved over the last 30 years or so too, as well, and now we're getting a lot of kids involved, whereas numbers nationally may be down a little bit. Our numbers are pretty consistent, pretty
Some
good.
of the teams
so.
get pretty big, I hear
Yeah,
lately. You've had to
yeah.
divide them into more than 2 or 3 levels.
Absolutely, and the popularity in Hanover has got a lot to do with the success Dartmouth has with their boys and girls teams, and you know, it's just a great place to coach and,
It's
and
fun,
be a
and
part of.
you can see them. I happen to live with someone who will say, I see someone today that Dick or John is going to have ultimately. I mean, they could probably go on today. I mean, you can spot them. You can obviously bring anyone along, but you can also pick out
Right, you can, you get
some
a
kids
sense
who
of
are
the good.
kind of in their DNA.
Right, right, and,
play
and
well.
the passion and the excitement they carry, and
And you get great support too in the stands, and you do. The girls
we
are
sure
awesome.
do, yeah.
You've got championships, both of you, enough to. I mean, I've been down to a few in the last few years, and
We have a lot of loyal supporters like yourself and your husband, who has actually helped develop a lot of our girls. And,
well, he thinks the alumni end of it is great fun. Most of your team last year he had at some point,
That's
and,
true.
and some of the
Oh, yeah.
boys.
that's
So
true.
Yeah.
it keeps us over there more than we even thought we'd ever be. Given, but it's fun. It's fun to watch anyone you've had as a young person, and whether it's a student. I had students at Richmond School in special ed, and who were not given wonderfully rosy predictions down the road, and they're both out working. One's graduating from college, so it's a really meaningful thing to see that they stay with it and
Right.
and then excel and shine in a way they thought they never could. So that's. Yours scares me, but no. I said that to Jeff, and I did it only because I know the obvious answer to that is, well, you don't go off the ski jump the first time you try it. You bump by bump get bigger bumps. But so you have numbers this year that are.
Yeah, this may be one of our larger tryouts. We, in fact, have, I think, about 24, 25
Wow.
scheduled to show up for our tryouts, which start in
Wow.
a couple weeks. And I think there is a class of about 10 freshmen. So,
What a tough problem to have.
and I
What a
think
nice-
next year we have the same sort of a number coming from the 8th grade. We'll lose a few. We're planning to go to prep school, I think, but and we had a couple 9th graders go to prep school this year, but I think generally the numbers are
You don't
tremendous.
worry about that.
The U12s, I've helped coach a couple times this year. I've been on the ice, and they have 2 U12 teams.
I
So,
saw them over there yesterday. and-
so good numbers
good
coming
stuff.
up in girls.
And how many years have you been doing this?
I have been involved, I think this is my 8th year as the head coach, and
Right.
I helped before that.
You did all the youth hockey.
I kind of took a different route than Dick. I mean, he helped at youth hockey with his kids, but
Yep.
he was also the head boys coach. But
Yep.
I kind of started with my kids, or my daughter didn't start
Right.
till she was almost in high school. But Cody started in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old at Mites, and that's where I started with Learn to Play and
Fantastic.
Mites, and I kind of followed him and his buddies up right through. And then Chelsea started high school, and I helped out. I jumped on with Harry Roberts
Yep.
and started with him, and then he got tired of it, and I just took over. And now that Chelsea's graduated, I've stayed on an extra 4 or 5 years.
See, that's what I think is fun. In our case, Jim never had a child in it, and he thinks it's even more fun probably in a way because it's just so neutral. So he doesn't have to worry about someone coming home and
Absolutely.
saying, "How come you're tougher on me than the rest of them?" And that did happen with us with softball. So I think he enjoys it that way. Now these guys all have other lives, which I know you wouldn't believe it because they're so passionate about their sports. But we have head of anesthesia. Am I right? In that?
Yeah,
Director
I'm
of
an anesthesiologist at Dartmouth Hitchcock.
Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Nothing important there. No time consumed there. This is what blows me away is that you all do so many other things that could be a problem for time, but you're flexible enough. You probably aren't as flexible, but you have to put your ski jumping schedule in somewhere and build around it, I guess.
Well, I think one of the only reasons I can do this is most of our ski jumping is at night. All of our practices, all of
Well,
our
that's true.
competitions are in the evening, so
Yeah.
it makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
It's how I keep sane as well. So.
I think it's a great release for most people in jobs. I think, I mean, you have a unique situation where you're all about recreation.
Right.
I mean, you're with the Improvement Society, so that you've got camping in the winter, stores in the summer, and
Kind
hockey.
of a perfect
I think
combination.
It's a job
isn't
I
it?
think people would die for.
Right.
I
Perfect
do.
storm, too.
It really is, yeah.
You know, and it's working in the recreation field is, you know, generally folks that come to Stores Pond Recreation Area are, you know, it's just a great environment.
They want to be there.
They want to be there.
Being dragged. They're not
happy.
being-
And same with the camping and rink. So, you know, it's a healthy environment. And
It's a marvelous mix. Our two little munchkins did the camp this summer, and they just said, when's next year? When's next year? So obviously things work over there. I was over there enough with them to watch a great crew of people, great hires.
You know, and it's the Stores Pond is we call it a hidden gem down in that part of Hanover. Not a lot of people know
People
about it.
don't even know that road past their
And
school.
it's really a great spot.
Yeah.
A good spot.
But the camping, I mean, one daughter had a reunion there at the Burn Pavilion this year, and it's just a perfect
Right.
location for
Right.
for
And
functions.
it offers so much tennis and camping, picnics, and you know, the swimming pool, one of the only
Yeah.
heated swimming pools in the area.
Yeah.
So it's a good spot.
Oh,
and
it's marvelous.
And I love the running races you guys do down there in the summer now. I've got to get you doing triathlons next.
well, then next year we're gonna do 2 triathlons next
Are
year.
you really?
So yes, we are.
But
And-
people don't realize they're just great trails all around
And
there,
with
run
Oak
around
Hill
the
and-
pond, and people don't realize our ski jumps are tucked
right
away
there.
up in the
It's hard to
hillside
see.
as
It
well.
really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad Denning's coming on this afternoon too, and he's
Right.
talking about a lot of his uphill
Yeah.
running and
Yep.
trail running and stuff. And you have a real job.
Yeah, I work down at Golf and Ski Warehouse. Been there for, I think, about 14 years, 15 years. I manage the online store, and
Oh,
it does
boy.
get a little bit crazy this time of year, building right into Christmas and after it. So it's always a challenge trying to find time for probably our busiest time of the hockey season.
Exactly.
You know, starting things out and getting people to learn your systems and.
So are you managing the online ordering? Is that essentially it? And
yeah.
stocking it as well and ordering
I
for
do.
it?
I do just about everything. I don't do any of the ordering. We
Okay.
have buyers that do that,
Okay.
but I see that the products that we want to include on the web store get up
Then
and
they get out.
they get out. And
That's very cool. I've never had to use it living close enough, but I forget about stuff like that.
we get people from Hanover and Norwich and same towns that we have stores in ordering. So I think they just don't want to drive. And we
Well,
have-
that road is less fun, a little bit, less fun, but you're lucky you were spared in this last debacle that's still got stores closed.
yeah.
You were just at the right end and right height.
We were fortunate. I think the water came within about 7 or 8 feet of,
Was it that
of our
close?
back door. Yeah. So-
I look at those stores just north
Even
of you, and
today.
I just think, I mean, they're opening now in the next week or two, but they've missed a lot of the big season. And
Yeah.
I think about stores like iParty, which Halloween is probably their biggest day of the year, and couldn't do it.
You don't get those
So it's
back.
sad. It's sad, but you don't have to worry about that. You just have to keep people alive.
Well,
Nothing to that. I worked in surgery, and I always said that the anesthesiologist was much to the ego of the surgeon's dismay, that the anesthesiologist was the go-to man, because if you have a crisis, it's usually something you have to jump in on and deal
And
with.
fortunately, crises are exceedingly rare anymore. And I mean, anesthesia
True.
has become so incredibly safe.
Yep.
We're gonna get ourselves out of a job here if we get too much
Don't
better.
do so well.
But I mean, frankly, I tell my patients when they come in, because a lot of patients have that perception of the risk, and
Yeah.
I said, your greatest risk today was getting in your car and driving here, because now that you're here with me, the risk is
Good.
reduced. So.
That has to be comforting, because I think people do. Having been worked there for years, I used to think that was the part that I would dread the most, just recovering from anesthesia. I didn't have a problem with what they were going to do to me. I just would worry. Now I think it's much less worrisome, thankfully.
Yeah.
So you've got the problem of busy season twice. You've got just the hockey, but you've got Campion. You've got some good help, but you've got
sure.
Campion to deal with.
Right.
Do you have, let people know what, when it's open for public skating or such things?
Our season runs probably early September through mid-April, so we've got a long season, and we offer a lot of programs to the public. Public skiing is one of our more popular, and we do that 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, right around lunchtime.
Perfect.
And we also offer a couple of programs that have become really popular over the last couple of years. Adult learn to play hockey classes on Monday and Thursday mornings, and we call it intermediate hockey for the next level of adults up from 11 to 12 on Monday and Thursday. So
there's a lot of adult hockey in this
incredible.
town. I mean,
It really
women
is that,
too. I mean, I'm amazed always at the number of women's teams that play all over the New England. I mean,
it's fun. And a lot of these folks that sign up have kids that are just entering into the youth hockey program and have never skated or played, and they want to try it and learn with their kids, and it's really neat. You know, we've got authors and lawyers and politicians, and just a great group.
You take politicians?
Anytime.
Oh, okay. Just checking. So that's going to be available to anyone, anyone, any age can learn to skate over there in some level, some program, whether it's hockey or without a stick.
You know, we also have a learn to skate program, and right now we have probably an 80-year-old woman that is learning how to skate. Oh. So it's great. Miriam Arndt, good job.
Oh my gosh.
Keep it up.
I know who she is.
Sure.
That's awesome. There's
She's
hope
wonderful.
for all of us.
She's wonderful.
I've been trying to get back on. I wanted to with Jim so involved, but I just got out there and I was just a mess. And with back surgeries, I thought that the one thing I don't want to do is fall.
No, you don't.
So I'm a much better cheerleader than I am skater. But your family still, do they still skate?
Oh yeah. Well, Chelsea's down in Houston, so she actually is, when she gets a chance, has a team that she goes over and a real young, I think they're probably 6 or 7, learn to play.
Good for her.
Type. So I think Thursdays during her dinner hour. She's in the investment banking industry, so they work a lot of hours, and she can sneak out. But she ends up going back to work. But she had me ship her skates and stick and gloves and helmet down the other day. And
so she's coaching versus playing.
Just
the playing
just
would probably take much time.
Yeah, I don't think she'd have time to play.
Yeah.
I think it's occasionally, once every couple of weeks, she can sneak out depending on her schedule. And Cody's still at UNH. He's a senior this year, and he's on the club team. Yeah.
Good. I love to see the kids go to the club teams because, let's be honest, that's really where most will go. I mean, we all like to think our kids are top of the heap in one little teeny town, but the realistic view is they'll get a better experience if they don't think well, the Division I's won't take some anyway.
Right.
Hanover has produced some incredible athletes. A lot of them, I think that skiers in this town, I mean, I've had Hannah on twice this year, and she just blows me away with all she gets done, including a term of finding out what it was like to study after 7 years. She's now on a program where she's just going to go every spring, so she can keep aiming for 14 Olympics. And they've been so incredibly flexible. I think it's to their benefit too. They win having her there at all.
Absolutely.
And they win being as nice as they've been in terms of really just tweaking that thing all the time. So anyway, it's fun. But this town, these two towns together, I can't explain it. I don't know if anyone can, why the two towns have produced the number of Olympians, or just not even quite that level, but incredible winter athletes.
They really are pretty neat. And it's not just athletes.
No.
You know, these kids that come through our programs are, they're going to great colleges.
They're good
they're
students.
Doing really well. It's just fun to see what happens to them once they graduate college and move on with their lives. And
the number of student athletes in this area is as great as, and that's what you really boast about, because they go on and really do something special.
And then, the folks really care about their education here, and they work hard, and they get great grades, and it's important to them. And, I've got a couple of kids at other areas around the country where it's not so important.
Oh, I think if nothing else, they come out of here knowing time management better than any other students. And the athletes really know how to budget their time
Right.
to succeed. And if they, fool around and don't use that other time well,
They're in
but
I
they
think they-
multitaskers.
You look at the Upper Valley, we really do encourage balance and sort of growing up, and most kids take on some other activity, sometimes sports, but sometimes other things. And
Right.
I think that's why there is such success coming out of the Upper Valley. I mean, I actually kind of miss some of the days when we were growing up. And I mean, back then, there wasn't near as much subspecialization. So, I mean, I played hockey when second, third, fourth grade, played hockey, played basketball, alpine skied, cross-country skied, jumped, and a lot of us weren't as good as the kids of today because they're so subspecialized,
Yep.
but we all got exposed to everything. And it was, we only really got focused on one sport like hockey or soccer sort of well into your kind of almost high school career.
Sure.
So I kind of miss those days because you see kids today sort of by fourth and fifth grade they've picked one sport
they
and
know
they're
how
almost
to
doing
do
it
it.
year round.
Zero right in, yeah.
And as I remember our childhood, we'd play hockey at 8, 9 in the morning. We'd be at the skiway by noon.
This is true.
We'd be skiing all afternoon.
This is
and
true.
Come back home and maybe we'd play driveway hockey or go down the basement and play hockey.
Several
or-
things a day.
Well, we studied too.
That's true.
I was going to ask where that fit into this, but John, you just helped me out. Well, you guys all did just great in that area, but I still think it's remarkable that you still are all doing what you're doing. And there's one picture you sent me, that the three of you out in the yard playing with your dad. And it was the old days of just picking up a game of something. It could have been just running, it could have been tag, it could have been... But those days are what I remember best, with the
Right.
neighborhood kids all getting together in
And just
basketball
playing.
or
Right.
baseball.
Oh, we didn't
or-
have computers or cell phones.
No.
Or
Xbox wasn't around.
We
didn't need a referee
no,
or an
you didn't
umpire
need
or a
thing.
scoreboard.
It
We
was
just-
so casual and so creative because you had to think of it yourself.
Yeah.
And we were pretty much told to stay outside unless a tornado came. we just weren't allowed in the house on a nice day. It wasn't going to happen. So I think that's shifted, but not around here so much. They may get all that computer time or video time somehow, but they still have a focus, or they aren't going to be where they and their parents want them to be.
Right.
And the support they get from people like you and their parents. There's a
Right.
little...
The parents do a great job
parents-
in this town.
They're there for them. They'll make it happen, whatever it takes to do the sport. And they're lucky that way because we're not an average community. I mean, socioeconomically, let's face it, they can do it better here than
Right.
some places. I was with a student who you all know, but I won't mention, and he and I were working together as special ed, and he just said to me one day, he said he was going away to school because it wasn't right for him quite in Hanover, and he said, we were playing golf together, and he said, I am so lucky that my parents can send me to boarding school, which was what he was about to go do. And he said, I am so lucky to have parents who will do this for me. And I thought, if you hear that just every now and then, you feel so good, because these
Right.
kids all do have a lot, for the most part. And it's so nice to hear it verbalized
Right.
by a kid who
And
then was
I'm
12.
always taken aback by the support our parents have to get. I mean, ski jumping's interesting. It's not
Right.
not like you've got a covered hockey rink and a Zamboni that runs around and cleans up the ice. It's, I mean, I get a big snowstorm and
So he's got it easy and you...
I count on my parents to come out
Yeah.
and sidestep the hill with me.
Well, they
back
have
it.
to be there,
And
don't they?
I assign some of them to shovel the steps and climb up the jump. And
They're all
so
invested in the
They work.
in the program. That's
They
great.
learn very quickly that it's
it-
a family affair when they join the ski
It
jumping
has
program.
to be, but think of the upside, they stay warmer than if
That's
they were
true.
just standing on the hill watching their own kids just, slalom down or something. This way, if I was in the cold of winter having to watch kids do a snowy event, I think I'd want to be moving.
That's true.
And that's one way to do it. So you've been telling me did you go through Dartmouth? in med school and everything? Or
I
did
was
you
at
go away for-
Williams College for college, but ultimately came back to Dartmouth Medical School.
For
yeah,
everything medical.
So, yeah.
You all stayed around. Your
Isn't that
parents are the
amazing?
luckiest people in the world.
We all live within a mile of the house we grew up in. Isn't that amazing? Really?
You don't hear that anymore. You really don't hear it enough. We all used to be that way, and then some people in some countries obviously still are, but now just your kids go away, and they don't necessarily...
Well, it's a great community to grow up in,
It
to
is.
raise a family in, and
It is. It's a family community, and I think that there were certain periods I know with my own where it was boring, and it wasn't, they weren't bar hoppers, and there was a time when this wasn't it. And they're not here now, but they have found places where they're extremely happy.
Yeah.
So your season starts when?
The hockey season will start, our tryout is Thanksgiving week.
Okay.
And then,
It's the same for both of you.
yeah.
right, and then I think we both open around the middle of December. Yeah, so it's coming up.
It is coming
Pretty
up.
exciting time of year.
And how about you? Are you doing any kind of training now?
Well, we'll start dryland training right before Thanksgiving, and we have our first meet scheduled for December 16th, but we're subject to the vagaries of
You
the
sure
weather.
are.
So,
You sure
actually,
are.
that meet is at Proctor Academy, so as long as the temperatures get cold, they can make snow.
They make it.
And we'll be able to ski there. But it may very well be the first time my kids are on snow for the year, because we tend not to make snow at Oak Hill.
Right.
It's pretty an expensive proposition for the Fort Sayre program, so I don't like to make snow unless by New Year's I haven't seen snow yet. So then we
We saw it Halloween.
You come and get snow from your brothers every
Yeah.
time they do the Zamboni clean,
I've thought of that, actually. It makes a good solid in-run.
could-
when
Right.
you take the ice shavings and pack the in-run with it.
That's right.
You could take and do the ramp jumping that the mogul skiers practice on, but we don't have any place big enough.
Well, we've actually developed, sort of, with Mike Holland sort of pushing the way, developed a couple simulation techniques for ski jumping
good.
that we're constantly looking for different ways to simulate jumping, because you have to wait for the snow in the winter.
Well,
Though a lot of areas in the country have plastic for
Yep.
ski jumping. In fact, the Lebanon has a 25-meter jump that's got plastic, and then Lake Placid is where most of the kids
Right.
who want to ski through the summer on plastic go,
Right.
at least in the east. So.
We've watched them over there in the summer. It's quite a sight. But it's hard. It's like crew up here, up north. They have to go south to train. They can't get on. But I had a daughter at Middlebury who couldn't get on a lake up there till forever, so she went south to get somewhat ready for all of her southern competitors. But you guys are safe.
Middlebury has crew. Where's the river around there?
Lake Dunmore,
Okay.
but it's
How close
icy.
is that?
It's close, but it's ice until way beyond
one.
when other
Yeah.
schools can train on their
Yeah.
own water. It was a challenge, but you do it. You do what it takes.
If you love it, if you're
You
passionate
never-
about
and
it.
you've got the indoors. You're safe. You don't depend on Mother Nature.
Right.
That is where I'd be, but I
No,
envy you.
your
because
ice is melted on occasion.
Yeah, actually, there might have been a
It does
time or two
happen.
the lights went out or something. Not too often,
There's a
luckily.
threat to any of this, but this is kind of why I wanted to have you guys on, because number one, I think it's unique. I don't know of how many three-brother groups there are that do something like you do, all for the same high school, the same level, but also have real lives outside it. And you just sort of epitomized what this show was all about, which was a balance of something very interesting and active, along with a job that you really have to do.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
But we all love our jobs, too.
If you love your job, I
And
tell
that
you,
makes everything work.
everybody's happy when that's true, but the
And
fact
the
that you have
support we get
two,
from our families is
Yeah.
huge, you know.
that is true.
Yeah. so-
Because you've both had all kids involved.
Right.
You've had one son, I know, involved, right?
Well, I've had 3 kids kind of very active, but
What did we have?
one son involved in the ski jumping.
Yeah.
Though my oldest son actually was one of the first ones
was
that
a-
enticed me back into ski jumping.
Oh, really?
but he ski
was
jumped
track,
for a few
wasn't he?
years, and then he converted to track.
Yeah.
His junior year, not until his junior year in high school.
And then you did really well with it.
Yeah, he did.
It was
He had
fun.
great
It was
success.
fun being in the school system for a while because you got to.
I think our
know
kids
these
kind of
kids.
ruled the roost down there.
They did.
At least one year we had, what, 8 Dodds in the high school, enrolled in the high school?
Yeah.
Three seniors.
3 seniors, yeah.
Well, on one of the pictures you sent, Trevor and who was in it? Trevor and Patrick were both in one in the group shot.
And I think Cody was in that one as well.
Cody was in it too.
Sure.
So you know the name Dodds means a lot in Hanover, but all for the right reasons. And I think the balance you have in your lives is critical, even though it's probably crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the balance that keeps you going. If
Keeps
you
you
get
sane.
too focused and too mired in one thing, I think
Yeah.
it actually gets harder.
It does, and I think the fact that you're in active things outside your work is that much better. So you're outdoors. You're almost outdoors because those rings aren't always so
You'd
warm.
have to consider it outdoors.
I consider it outdoors sometimes in some rinks. Definitely outdoors. But I just really want to tell you how pleased I am that you all could make this happen because 3 of you, it's never easy to get 3 people in
No,
the same place
I know it.
together with different kinds of work, different kind of schedules, and someone in Denver to learn before. God, you were good to do that. You could have crawled in here. I would have picked you up. But I thank you so much for doing this for us. I think it's going to make a great show. You've all sent me, these guys sent pictures. You won't believe how many pictures I have that are now in our studio that you will see when this show airs, and I will make sure that the word gets out. I do it on Facebook, and I'll call those who don't have it. But you're going to see a lot of these guys and their kids and their teams when this show airs because we're going to intersperse as many of their pictures as we can fit in without taking away from you. So I think it's going to be really fun to watch, and I will make sure that everyone knows when this is on, and you'll get it. You'll be on probably 5 times the week you're on. So
Thank you.
nobody can miss it. No excuses. So thank you so much for doing this, and
Well,
making
thank you.
time.
That's been
Thank
a
you
lot
for
of
having
fun.
us.
Making
Right.
time for,
Sure.
as I say, sometimes getting 3 or 4 people together. It's a lot of emails and a lot of can't do that one, but I can't do that one. And you guys made it easy, so thank you very, very much for coming in. I think it's going to be a wonderful show for people to see.
Thank you, Judy.
And everyone in the Valley knows who you are, so they're all going to say, a lot of people that come in aren't as well known to viewers, but you 3 are. So at least we know there are a lot of family people out there with all you guys. So all your kids and wives will see it, so that's good.
That's true.
So thank you once again. And this is why I love this show, folks, because this is a classic balance of recreation and things they do on the side that are just plain passions, and real jobs that are passions, I'm assuming. And I won't bother you at Christmas season. I'll come and watch you, but I won't go to the store. So anyway, this is what it's about. And if you know other people, you'll never top these 3. But if you want to try, Judy McEwen at Comcast.net. And when the show gets ultimately, if you have friends that you know don't see Channel 8, when the show gets put into the library, anyone in the world can see it, and you can get them our website, and that'll let your friends in Japan know about it and various places. So everyone can see it ultimately, and I will make sure to keep you updated as to when that's going to be. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.